What you can expect when the boogeyman comes back home. My name is Steve Uncle Tricky Barton from BrainwavesTalk.com, and I have the honor and the pleasure of working with you guys today to bring you what's going to be one hell of a panel. So without further ado, I want to bring out Mr. Chris Nelson, Mr. Next up, I'd like to bring out one of the producers, one of the men who spearheaded this project and made sure it not only happened, but happened the right way. Mr. Ryan Turek. Now, somebody very special to me, somebody who's kept this franchise alive, someone who's carried on his father's work. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Malek Akkad. Next up, I want to bring out the film's art director, Mr. Sean White. Sean! One of the people who stir up the boogeyman for his 40th year anniversary, Miss Rhian Rees. Rhian! Now, what Halloween would be the same without the shade himself? You guys ready to meet your new Mr. Jude Courtney, Jude Courtney! And finally, the man who made the magic happen, Director David Gordon Green! And also, makeup photographer Vincent Van Dyke. Sorry, I thought I said you were with me. Come on. The reason why I forgot is way better looking than me. Guys, have a seat. Started. I will go over here because nobody wants to see me. There you go. All right. Guys, the principals behind Halloween 2018, let's hear it for them one more time. My first question is for Ryan. Ryan and I have a very long history, and I love the guy Ryan on a personal note. I am so proud of him, because we started working together when we were just wee lads. And look at us now, huh? Well, look at you now. It's crazy. No, you too, man. I didn't look at you. You're like half the size. So congratulations on all the hard work you're putting in. Thank you. All right, good night, guys. So Ryan, when did this idea to resurrect the franchise come to be?
It wasn't an idea. It was just, I think it was 2015. I mean, obviously, Malek and I met each other on the set of Rob Zombie's Halloween when I was working for Fangoria. And Halloween has always been incredibly important to me, and I was always trying to find new things to bring into Blumhouse. And Blumhouse is usually known for supernatural horror films, but we had never really done a true slasher film. And just one afternoon and a little insight into my life. I think I was folding laundry by myself, and I decided to make a call to somebody, and I was like, hey, how's Halloween going? And this person told me, it's not. Bob and Harvey can't do the movie anymore. So I reached out to my boss, Jason Blum, and I said, Jason, you better go look into those rights and find out what we can do, because it would be amazing to bring Halloween back and just do a new film. And then, next thing I know, I ran into Malek at Halloween Horror Nights, and you were feeling great, and we were feeling great, and things behind the scenes at a much higher level were already moving along, which was great. And the next thing I knew, Malek, myself, Miramax, Jason, we were all sitting in a room figuring out what we could do. So I was more like just kind of teeing it up. And Malek, you could talk about the behind the scenes on the right side, because I don't know.
Please, Malek, tell us the tale. Tell us, of course, about the involvement of John Carpenter.
Well, a miraculous thing happened on the way to Haddonfield, and that was when the rights came out of the previous studio. I'm sure most of you know who I'm talking about. We had spent 6 years trying to get another film going, and my biggest concern was they just didn't realize what they had, and the attraction that this franchise has, and how deeply the fans care about it. We were talking, I was being asked to shoot in Serbia for no money, and it was pretty much a nightmare. A miraculous thing happened when that ended. We were able to look around and partner up with people who do get it, and as you've seen, know how to market it, know how to make it. It's just been amazing. And speaking of John Carpenter, as soon as those rights came up and I was sort of free of that, he was the first person I went and saw, and I just said, you've got to be a part of this, and everybody collectively were so excited about that and on board with that. But that fateful day is what led to all the other stars aligning, and Jamie and John and David and Blumhouse, and so I do call it the sort of the miracle day, and here we are now.
Amen. So now, there's been Halloween is a really unique franchise because it's one of the only ones that has so many different storylines, so many different plot threads. And I wrote about that on HalloweenMovies.com, and you guys should check that out, because if you haven't been to that website, I can assure you, if you're a Halloween fan, you need to. But where did the idea to pick up right after the original film come from? David.
First of all, Jason Blum reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in talking to him about ideas for the film. And immediately I got very excited about it and went to my business partner, the academic bride, who became an unlikely collaborator. I'm an unlikely collaborator in this endeavor. But we just started to talk about ideas and saying, well, what if? And we really were, as I'm sure all of you, when you see a sequel to a movie you love, or you see a movie that you respond to, you think, what if and what's next and all that. And so we just started putting ourselves in the mind of our own appreciation of the original film. Loving every film that's been made in the franchise and appreciating them, but wanting specifically to honor Carpenter's 1978 film. When we got to the core of what we were responding to about that movie, it was the simplicity. It was not motivation. It was not justification. It was not an elaborate backstory. It was something very primal and unexplained, and that's what really terrified us about that. So then we said, what if? Would the world hate us? Would the world reject us if we said there was no Halloween and beyond? What we started right there. So it was an initial kind of novelty idea that the more we started following that thread, the more we started finding a narrative that we really liked because of its raw simplicity.
Now, Sean, as art director, you were very much in charge of the look of the film. What was that like? What did you have to do to bring that Halloween, classic vintage Halloween vibe back?
I think it's really my boss, the production designer, and I collaborated on that. so it was quite a challenge, and we had some cool builds, some cool big sets, but yeah, I personally think it was amazing.
That's what I was going to just chime in. Sean and Richard Wright, they were part of a team along with David. I mean, like, these were the guys that would fact check a lot of things, and they'd just be like, okay, so the tombstone, what did the tombstone look like? And then you brought out a tombstone from the original, and I was like, is this the giant tombstone? I mean, it was just down to the detail. These were the guys who also demonstrated how much fandom was driving this film.
He actually returned the tombstone. It wasn't like the first time.
I certainly not a doubt, not one. Now, when it comes to Halloween franchises, especially Michael Myers, I'm a bit of a stickler as the way the Michael Myers mask looks. To me, it's always been a very vintage look, and I really wanted to find out from Chris and Vincent what went into creating that look, that feeling of familiarity, yet bringing something new to it.
A lot of
Do you guys like the mask?
It all starts with the director, David, and you know, the point was, after all these years and all the sequels and things like that, you want to give the fans what they want. You want to give them that costume. And then the context of the story had taken place 4 years later, after the first movie, all the other movies go away. If that mask doesn't look like Michael Myers, if it doesn't have that shape, if it doesn't have that silhouette Barton on, then it's just not going to work. You know, it's just, you're not going to pull it off. So we had a great team of artists, myself, Vincent, Justin Mabry, everybody at Vincent Van Dyke's shop. We're all Halloween fans, we're all Michael Myers fans, and we all study photo after photo and masks and 40-year-old masks and how they decay, and again, the silhouettes and the hair, you have to sculpt the hair. It was just a lot of work, and it was a collaboration of a lot of people that wanted to see that character return and wanted to do right by the context of the story, do right by David and Malek, and for the fans mostly. Just wanted to make everybody happy. So we worked really hard in it, and I think we got close. We should do better, but we got close.
Vincent?
Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that. I mean, kind of hit the nail on the head. It's all about going back to the roots of that original mask and really trying to make a nice homage to it and then age it and stress it in a way that feels believable and natural.
The other thing too is a lot of people, you know, you have to take a bit of cinematic and artistic license with the decayed look of a mask. You can't look, if you took the original mask as it is today and you stuck it on a guy's head, it'd be laughed off. Like you couldn't use it, it just wouldn't work. So you have to take a little bit of cinematic license and have a balance. And also the guy wearing it and David, the way David shot it, Michaelson's later, that was really important.
I was just going to add that the first day that Chris brought the mask to set and Jim put it on, and we're in the back of the house and we're preparing for the film, and we see it kind of in the shadows off in the distance down the hallway. I see them preparing for it, and it was a chilling effect that you got the feeling that you wanted. You got the feeling, but it's present. It's not on a movie screen. It's in the house that you're in, and you hate it. You're drawn to it. There's something absolutely horrifying about its almost vacancy. It's there's a subtle melancholy to it that I love, and just seeing the subtle movements as Jim started to possess that character, and you would see the slightest head tilt, or those things really start to echo, and then all of a sudden we knew we were on something. That was right before we started production, and it gave everybody that thrill, that chill that said, we're going to get it right.
I just want to talk about the security that surrounded the mask. Every time Chris came to set, it was in like a black duffel, that almost felt like it was handcuffed to his arm. And the first time we were at the gas station, I think it was the first time we unveiled it, it was like you were bringing Oscar ballots around. It was amazing.
The crew would tease me, asking me if I slept with it.
I would have. Totally. So how many different iterations of the mask were there before you nailed the right one? That you felt like it was like, oh, this is it, this is the mask.
Wait, I missed that, sorry.
How many different versions of the mask were there before you nailed it?
Yeah. I think two.
Two?
I think we did one and it was kind of going in a very different direction. And we kind of had an epiphany of we have to keep it simple with that shape and that shape. Oh, we didn't? Anyway. But we did do a 78 version.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I think you should talk about it. I want to check it out.
Okay, so we did a 78 version because there was a section of the film that took place in 1970 before this one picked up, and then so I had Justin Mabry come in, who was an excellent sculptor, recreating that look, and we had that mask. We ended up not shooting it. We ended up not using it. Those exist. Probably worth a lot of money.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, to keep in mind, in the spirit of Carpenter's film, this is a low-budget movie, and to us, as much as that's a challenge every day, it's also an opportunity to innovate, and you have an idea of what something's going to be, and then you can't afford it, and you don't have enough time. I mean, principal photography was 25 days, and so, you know, you have a lot of things that are in your head, and you've got to get it. It's my first horror movie. I don't want to be in this room with a bunch of people pissed off at the movie we made.
Especially horror fans.
And so we had an introduction, like we had a prologue in the script that in my head as a writer thinking, well, the new fans are going to need this to give us some setup. And this isn't giving anything away from anyone that hasn't seen the movie, but people are going to need the setup. So let's pick up with a little, you know, a moment in 1978 that has a glimpse of the climactic bedroom sequence, has a glimpse of 78 Myers, and we'll get little glimpses that can give us some context for our movie to start, right? So it was under construction. I mean, the actual original house had been visited and measured to the inch, and it was the frame and the room had been starting to be built. We're looking at our schedule and our budget and thinking, this prologue's costing a lot of money, it's taking a lot of time. And then in consultation with John Carpenter over the script, he's like, kill the prologue, buddy. Like, nobody needs it. You know, get right to your story, get right to what makes, you know, everybody's going to have seen the movie. If they haven't, they should. And they will. And he had that great confidence about it. So he said, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, we save the time and money. But we have this set half built. And then one of the great opportunities that Sean in the art department came up with was, let's use it for our climax in a remodeled way that's very subtle, subconscious callback in a way that was a fun way to reutilize something that was being constructed for a different purpose, but then now when you look at it and you see where we go at the ending of the film, you just think, how could that not have been designed all along? So you kind of feel like the horror gods are navigating this ship in a lot of ways, and we've got a lot of amazing artists and technicians utilizing both cost-effective and the dreams of being an 11-year-old watching a movie your parents told you never to see is all coming to life. The enthusiasm on this set, the opportunity of these iconic characters in this franchise was something that actually you can all imagine, and it was really a crazy goosebump honor for 25 crazy days.
I cried a couple times.
So Rhian, actually first, how many people has anyone here seen the movie yet? Yeah. So Rhian, tell us about your character for those of us who hadn't seen the movie and how you play into everything.
I play Dana Hayes, who's a podcaster over from England. Me and my co-star, Jefferson Ford, who says hello, by the way, in San Francisco He is a little bit exploitative and has, let's say, lack of patience with Michael Myers in the sanitarium. He obviously haunts him and gets the desired reaction, I'm sure. Yeah.
Were you a fan of the Halloween franchise?
To be honest, I haven't seen it because I'm a bit of a scared pussycat. I haven't seen any.
Okay, everyone shame her right now.
It better be in this horror film because I was naturally very terrified.
Tell us about the first time you saw Jim in full shape regalia.
Well, I just had a conversation with him 5 minutes before we started doing our scenes, and he's the nicest, sweetest man. He was telling me all about his cat and how his cat came along with him. And I was like, I'm really scared of you. That might be tough because you're so nice. But then as soon as he was in the full costume and makeup, and he was behind that door knocking those teeth, it wasn't that hard to be scared.
So Jim, tell us about what you wanted to bring to the role of Michael Myers. Like, where is Michael Myers at after these 40 years have passed?
You know, that's an intellectual question that I don't have an answer for because I didn't intellectualize anything about this character. I was studying Stella Adler and I had Royal Academy coaches and there are very distinct ways that normally I would work on a character. But for this one, it goes back to a great old comedian, comic actor named Ted Knight.
Contract. I'm supposed to be at every one of these, and look, they didn't invite me. I'm just kidding, you guys. Are they doing okay, you guys? Yeah, totally. Just checking in.
So he's an old guy, he's allowed to do this. And so, thank you, Nick.
Back to you, Jim.
So this is great old comic actor. I'm from the Barry Tyler Moore show named Ted Knight, and I was a young actor, and I met him. And one of the great gifts he gave me, he was a very generous man, and one of the great gifts he gave me was the importance of emulating people in acting. And so, and he said, he told me to emulate people walking down the street, emulate them on, emulate me. And he told me that I had sort of an empathic quality that I had to feel in them. Not intellectual, I might do it this way, I move my hands that way. What it's really about is feeling into that person and feeling what they feel like, because what they feel is how their face expressions are driven, how their body motivates. And so for this particular character, when I got the call to go down and put on tape, I looked at Halloween, the original Halloween, knowing that all I wanted to do was embrace the energy of the entire thing. So I made no notes, I get to talk to Nick, and there was a moment when I was watching the film, and there was a moment when Nick is walking through the backyard, camera left to camera right, really quick shot, but I was watching the film and I'm like, I've got that energy. So everything that I did from that point forward, when I went down and put on tape, when I met David, and when I went to work, and David and I had a nice conversation about cat-like movements when he called me, and we talked about the way David envisioned his cat-like movements, and I was really fully resonating with that already. My cat was in my lap at the moment David called me and talked to me about it. So I have not intellectualized, and I never have, and I don't think I ever will intellectualize this character, because to me, this character is a space, a place, and an energy indefinable in my world. It just is. And I'm the guy who's was lucky enough to inhabit that space. It's a very deep space. And it's beyond duality, it's beyond light and dark, good and bad. It just is. And it's a really powerful, beautiful space. So that's my story, I'm sticking to it.
So guys, I'm going to ask you if you have questions for the cast. Hang on. Line up right over there in that aisle, and I will get to you after just a couple more questions. So if you do have questions for the cast and the crew, just line up in that aisle, and I'll make sure they get asked, okay? You can do that now. You're not going to miss nothing, guys. So, Ryan, as a fan of this series, and as a fan in general, you know, you've been in the horror industry for a really long time. It's for people like us, it's in our blood. So tell us about what it feels like for you, coming from a fan, to having the opportunity to make something like this happen, to have a hand in creating a new film that somebody who was your age, or is your age right now when you're first getting into it, this is probably going to be one of their favorite movies, man, and that's got to be a thrill for you. So tell us about that, and talk to the fans and let them know that things like this do happen if you love it and you want it enough.
You summed it up perfectly. It's crazy crowds. No, there wasn't. I mean, I did feel like just breaking down. I mean, I'm incredibly fortunate to be working on a great film such as this, and working alongside Malek, who, you know, I looked up to when I was working at Fangoria, because you were one of the first producers I ever interviewed. You know, working alongside David, who, you know, I loved all of your films, and I knew that you had the seed of a horror filmmaker in you, from wanting to do Freaks of the Heartland to Suspiria. You know, I just knew that you had it in you, but as a fan, it's insane. It's just weird and insane and crazy and good. And people ask me, you know, what should I do? And my answer is, be passionate about the genre. Be passionate about what you want to do for a living. You know, I went on a lot of different paths. I was a journalist, but before that, I was a struggling screenwriter who quit because I was more instant gratification. I wanted people to read my stuff and give me feedback right away. And then somewhere along the way, I was done writing about movies and I just wanted to make them. So once I put that out there into the world, then the Blumhouse gig came along. So for that to transition into something where I'm working on one of the biggest franchises in history, and I'm a diehard fan of it, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, it's all about passion. It's about letting people know you're passionate about it, and letting people know, you know, if you're a screenwriter or a director or a makeup effects artist, you know, let people know that, scream about it, show people your work, and you know, and great opportunities will come along.
Amen. I mean, make no mistake, he was sitting where all you guys were, you know? I was sitting next to him half the time. And it's a beautiful story, and it goes to show you that you can do it. So David, I have another question for you. Why Halloween?
Why Halloween? Well, it's the most unnerving experience I've ever had, that I had as a kid watching a movie. It's something, I look at every project that I've made, every movie that I've made, of tapping into that youthful energy and enthusiasm I had when I'm discovering music in movies, and the cultural world is thriving in my brain. I couldn't get enough. And as opposed to kind of the wit and playfulness of Freddy, or, you know what, I actually didn't give Chainsaw a fair shot for a long time because I was too fucking scared to see that. But that, or the supernatural movies, you know, Shining and things like that are Rosemary's Baby, Exorcist, things that were beyond the earth a little bit. Those are wonderful films and many of my favorite movies, but to me, as a storyteller, what I'm really drawn to is that unnerving simplicity that Halloween got, because of the identifiable, recognizable, relatable world in which this insanity, this random violence is happening. And there's something that, from the very first viewing, I'm not even certain I can completed watching it. I do remember getting ill and calling my mom to come get me from my friend's little party.
You pussy.
But that's what drew me into it, is that mysteriousness of what tapped into something emotionally in me that I had to keep returning to, and I had to keep challenging myself, and I had to be brave and get through the whole thing, and I had to, watch it again, watch the sequels, and so my cinematic diet, it was the one of the many franchises that I've enjoyed, and the many horror films that I've devoured in my life, and Halloween was just the one. It was weird. The first email I got from Jason, and again, I didn't never make a horror movie. I'm working on a dramatic film, an editorial, and I wake up and there's an email that just says Halloween ? And
Jason's pretty blunt.
and for, you could interpret that a million ways, right? An email from a horror movie producer that you know, and it says Halloween ? My legs knew what was happening and was about to happen. My legs started shaking as if I was like looking over the edge of a tall bridge or a high mountain. Something in my body knew exactly. It wasn't like he's having a Halloween party, which he does every year. I knew I was about to get in the Halloween business, and I got super excited, and my body started freaking out.
And remember how we were just talking about passion and knowing what excites you? And many people know that. That's why I have every confidence in you that you are the right person for this. Let him hear it. I know you guys are getting tired of clapping, but I want you to do me and everyone up here a big favor, and let's have a big round of applause for Mr. Mustafa Akkad. Now that here we are 40 years later, what the hell would your dad be thinking right now?
God, he would be happier than anybody. Absolutely. I mean, he loved his character. He loved being part of this franchise. He got to come to the first year we did Haddonfield, the 25 Years of Terror, and got to meet a lot of fans. It was one of the highlights of his life, I gotta tell you. He had so much fun at this convention. And to see where it is now, he would just be the happiest guy. He fought for a long time, taking a lot of chances to keep the franchise going, to start the franchise, to keep it going against a lot of odds, and he really honestly did it because he loved the fans and he loved the project, and I guarantee you no one would be happier than him right now, so thank you.
So where'd you go to the crowd? I surprised you guys, huh? I'm like a ninja, baby. You can't see me move. Anyway, what's your question?
Hi, first of all, my name is Jorge, and I want to thank you for bringing back the franchise. It means so much to me. I want to admit that I actually didn't become a fan because of watching any of the movies. It was actually because he plays Michael Myers in Dead by Daylight. And my question was, how do you guys feel that he's not just the movies, now he's actually in the game, you can actually play him and actually experience it at a different way. How do you guys feel about that?
You know, it was a fun thing to do, and I think that's really interesting that's how you became a fan. I think that's wonderful. So hopefully now you can watch some of the films, not just the video game.
License money well spent.
Yeah, it's a fun thing, and I think a lot of people responded really well to it. So it's a different space that people, there's just something about Michael Myers, that character, epitomized Nick Castle's performance and that master of Carter's direction, and what David has done, Jim, Chris. There's just something about that character, and everybody's like, it's the elusive, what is it? But it's just, I might be biased, but the coolest,
character in any horror film, and so it lends itself well, I think, to a good video game.
What I think is cool about Dead by Daylight is you can play Laurie Strode as well and be a survivor, kick ass. So I like that option a lot too.
How's everybody doing? My name is Cameron, and first of all, I'd like to say just thank y'all for just like bringing it back for 40 years and making it interesting for a whole interesting kind of like movie story with us. But my question is for James Jude Courtney. My question to you, is, sir, is that have you kept the shapes, metabolism just as equal as the original one? Which means it's like his type of speed and how he just gets his victim. That's what I mean by his metabolism.
Well, I think it's a great question. I think the human species is capable of immeasurably greater things than we've ever accomplished. Our brains, our bodies, longevity. So I think when you take yourself out of your mind, or a human being takes themselves out of mind and into the vibration of what they are, the pure potentiality. This is where I live with Michael Myers. David, Malek, and all those guys, Ryan, they were clear on what they wanted. They wanted a kick. They wanted somebody to come in who was in the age range and had a certain physicality. So David never said anything to me about affecting my movement or affecting myself as if I were an older man. It was just for me, I'm a 61-year-old man, but I have the blood work of a 30-year-old man. I trained as hard as I did when I was in college. I eat really well. Sometimes I drink too much, like I did in college. And so, it's really in the realm of not only possibility, but probability that this Michael Myers would be a very strong, very agile athlete in his 60s. And I think tapping into the deep vibration of what it means to be a human is something that Michael Myers' character does, because he is boundless. And most human beings are bound by their thoughts and by their belief systems and by their fears. Michael Myers doesn't live in that world. It's just a place of being. Thanks, man.
Hi guys, I know it's been said before, but honestly, thank you guys so much for coming here and doing this for us. We really appreciate it, and it's absolutely amazing. My name's James. I flew in from England yesterday morning to be here to experience this weekend, and it hasn't let me down so far, so it's been a wonderful experience. Well done. My question is about the script. So, from listening to other interviews and reading other stories about the production of the film, there were versions of the script that didn't include a role for Jamie, and she came on board and kind of incorporated her into the story. Can you tell us a bit about what direction those scripts were going in before she came on board and you kind of rewrote the story?
Well, that's not exactly true. We always had Laurie. We didn't know that Jamie was going to agree to play the part. So from the very first draft, it was a big part of our story was the Laurie narrative. I had reservations, as I always do as an insecure director, going to formidable talent, trying to persuade them to be in my film. But when we went to her, she had a screenplay with a fully realized character, and that's what I'm going in to try to sell her on. In the back of my mind, I thought, well, if she doesn't want to do it, maybe I can switch some of her characters to some other ones, or I can have her come in for a few days and we can shoot it really quickly. I didn't realize the incredible force of energy that Jamie Curtis is. When I talked to her one night. She called me the first thing the next morning, 8 a.m. the next morning, said I'm in. And from that day on, there's been very few days that we have not had exchanges about that character. And she's the type of performer when she's committed. She's there early, we're rehearsing, we're evolving the story. She brought up something specifically related to the script that I thought was really, really cool that you'll see in the film, is that towards the end of the movie in Carpenter's film, she's talking to Tommy and Lindsay and says, she's trying to get him out of the house and says, "Do as I say." And in that moment, switches from academic schoolgirl to confident, empowered, authoritarian, commanding, these attributes which she didn't embody. And so when she called me the next morning to tell me her thoughts on the script, she said, I see what you've done. You've written to do as I say, Laurie. And I was like, oh yeah, of course. So those type of things, that her insight and empowerment was just such a great way to fully realize something that, you know, Jeff Bradley and Daniel Bryan and myself were writing characters that from a fan standpoint of what we want to see Laurie do. But we'd always written it as, this is going to be the Laurie show. See what happens.
What's it like to sit down with John Carpenter and tell him how you're going to follow up his movie? Like, how do you keep your heart from just like jacking right out of your chest?
Yeah, you don't. I don't get starstruck very often. There's a few times where I'll have a celebrity encounter, someone that I just really admire. Like when I saw Chris Elliott outside the Four Seasons Hotel one time, and it started sweating. I've never met him, but whenever I see him, I sort of and so, Jamie and Jason and I went to Carpenter's house to pitch the idea. Once we had something that we kind of internally talked about and said, hey, this is a cool path, but let's see, you know, there was a couple ways to look at it. Are we going to kiss the ring of the Godfather, or are we going to invite him into our crazy circus and let him be a part of making the creative decisions of the world that he created in the first place? And so I went in with very limited expectations, but such high hopes and enthusiasm. We're in this house, there's a Starman poster on his wall. I mean, you know, there's I talk about the nostalgic kid in me because he just won't stop making movies. And so I'm seeing this, and Danny and I are just looking to each other, like nudging each other. We can't believe we're in this dude's house. His phone goes off and it's the Halloween theme, and so many things of that were just this beautiful opportunity for two guys. Danny and I went to film school together and been talking about making more movies since we were 19 years old together. And so then we're there and we're pitching an idea, he's kind of nodding, and then he has some ideas and some questions, and it was that kind of immediately not just a yes or no, or it wasn't just the ring of the Godfather, it was like a creative energy right out of the gate. And then just, you know, almost just floating out, I was like, hey, will you do the music? And then he just kind of smiled and said, we'll see about that part. So it became this very warm environment, a safe place to throw crazy ideas and hear how he'd respond. And that initial meeting was, the adrenaline that I had at that point was quickly replaced by just a comfortable creative collaborator.
My name is Luis. My only question is, why is the film called Just Halloween?
So that's the toughest question. What do you think, Ryan? Why is it called Halloween?
Thanks. It was a conversation, and we worked closely with the heads of Universal and Universal Marketing, and we just agreed Halloween was the best title. You throw a 2 on it, or a 3, or a subtitle, or something on it, it just confuses matters. And you know, we want to get an audience that not only knows the original film, but is also probably new to the series as well. And it made sense. I mean, why call it anything else other than Halloween for right now? It's 40 years later, we threw a Halloween 40, that didn't make sense. So just call it, I mean, anything broke, don't fix it. So it doesn't matter. It's just a title, I feel. Even as a fan, I mean, like, what matters is the movie, and the movie's great. So it's just one more Halloween spine on your shelf. You know, it's all good. Choose your own adventure nature of it. Jeff Nelson over at Street Factory, I think he's the first person to talk about it. I think he's like, I love the fact that I can have your film on the shelf, and then after Halloween, I can go Halloween 1 to Halloween 2, Halloween 1 to Halloween Halloween 2018, I can go Halloween 1 and 2 to 4, or then H2O, so choose your adventure.
All right, gentlemen, we're running a little short on time, so I'll make this really quick. What I heard was that your movie really emphasizes suspense over graphic violence. And I feel like in the modern horror genre today, characterization, plot development, all that is done to the wayside, or really just graphic gore to kind of make the audience so excited. So, what was your approach in regards to this film regarding that?
Well, I'll say the intention going into production was to find that line of when to play suspense versus surprise or gore versus imagination. I have to say, when you get artists like Christopher and Vincent on your project, and all of a sudden start seeing what's showing up on set, there becomes another opportunity beyond what I had imagined. And I guess I had assumed, because of our budgetary constraints and because of this and that we wouldn't be able to get away with some of the things that when they showed up on set, I was like, we're filming it, and I'm in the editing room like, we're using it. Because, so there's a line, and we cross it sometimes, and there's some gnarly shit in it. So, we'll enjoy that part as well.
This is not an intellectual question at all, maybe a silly question, but Michael Myers originally in 78 was like average height 5'10", average height. In prison, he grows what 5 inches to 6'3". What's the difference there? I mean, was there like he had a growth spurt or
Human growth hormone.
yeah? So I mean, he was a 6'3",
Dude, human growth hormone. You get steroids in prison. I mean, you kidding me?
And that goes along with the whole choose your own adventure thing, right? Guys, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us today. One more time, Ryan Turek. Jude Courtney and Shea. Thank you and good night. VIPs, please stay while the room empties out. We're going to be signing posters and other stuff for you. So if you're a VIP, so you got to pay money for the good stuff, man. If you're a VIP, hang out, and we'll get everything cooking for you. Okay, guys? Thank you again.